Hello and good evening once again to you as we gather again on our journey to meditation and prayer, our journey to wholeness. This is meditation number 13. I hope today that you are strengthened and affirmed during our time together, that you grow in knowing yourself, to become whole in who you are, and to make room for something new. Last week in session 12, you may remember that we walked through Henry Nouwen's second movement of the spiritual life. We talked about moving from hostility into hospitality. We're going to stay here today, but dive a little bit deeper into this second movement. It's an important transition, moving from hostility into hospitality. So let's dive deeper into ourselves in order to let our worries go, relieve ourselves of our own anxieties, to leave the hostility in our lives, and train ourselves to set our hearts on other things and empty ourselves of worry. So I want to share with you a little bit from Henry Nouwen's text. It's a short story about a Zen Buddhist named Nannen. Nannen, a Japanese master, received a university professor who came to inquire about Zen. Nannen served him tea. He poured his visitor's cup full, and then he kept right on pouring. The professor watched the overflow until he could no longer restrain himself. "It is full, it is full. No more will go in," he said. Nannen replied, "Like this cup, you are full of your opinions and speculations. How can I show you Zen unless you first empty your own cup?" You see, today we make space within ourselves to welcome our fellow human beings into relationship with us. So let's take a few moments and practice our breathing. Last week we went one breath until the count of 5 breaths. Let's take it the next step and start at 5 breaths, a count of 5 as we take in one breath, I should say, and then move to 10. For instance, our first breath in through the nose will be to count to 5. We'll hold it briefly, and then breathe out at the count of 5, and then the next one will be 6, and so on up to 10. Taking time to connect with our breath, we remember who we are and to whom we belong. When distractions come up, we recognize them and then let them go, continuing to focus on our breath. Today we make space for something new in our life, whether it be a stranger or an empty space, in order for God's Spirit to come and dwell. In this learning to make space, it reminds us how love is not an automatic reaction for us. One must make room for love to come in. Even parents with brand new babies do not love them immediately. It's not that they don't want the child, but the relationship of love must have time to grow, deepen. For children are not property. People are not puppets. Like us, they are guests. Guests that we see as a gift from God, to be welcomed in like family and grow our community. Let's light our candle and move our meditation time together into the scripture reading. So before we close today with our reading from Matthew, we practice emptying ourselves of all the worry and anxieties that we might even be holding on to today, and make it necessary that they don't belong in us. So we read from Matthew chapter 6 from the Message. Steep your life in God reality, God initiative, God provisions. Don't worry about missing out. You'll find all your everyday human concerns will be met. Give your entire attention to what God is doing right now. Don't get worked up about what may or may not happen tomorrow, for God will help you deal with whatever hard things come up when that time comes. There are likely many difficult things you are facing today. Deep valleys, impossible mountains. Our practice today teaches us to speak those things aloud and then let them go. To worry about them once and then to not give them the power to cause us obsessive worry or excessive worry. For when we excessively worry, we become hostile. We make others hostile. And we leave hospitality. But while we learn to allow space to welcome the other, space for that divine to come into us, we find that there's an intimate change of heart that goes on. A wonderful aspect of God's presence within ourselves and God's presence within the other. I thank you for your time with me today. May you continue to be whole as you practice letting go to move into hospitality. May you have peace today, and may your light burn bright in the world.